and welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us this week when we find out what it's like to be all American. This hit CW show tells the story of Spencer James, a high school football player from South LA who gets an up close and personal look at how the other side lives when he's recruited to play football at Beverly Hills High. And upon transferring schools, he also moves in with the coach and his family. So before we get into this season, Tammy, let's kind of break down the previous two. What have you thought about the evolution of the show, like from the beginning to now?
I love it. Like, I was a little surprising. I was excited about the show. Although I do not know how to play football, I am not a fan of football. I do not watch professional football at all. I don't even go to actual high school games, but whenever there are movies or shows about the sport, I am like all in. Like, I love watching movies and TV about the sport, but I won't actually watch it myself. I don't know. So I was really, really excited. And it's turned out amazing over the last 3 years. Like, I think they've done a phenomenal job on like the development of the characters, and I'm sure we'll get more into that. But yeah, like definitely one of my favorite, or no, I will say it is my favorite CW show that I've watched from beginning to end, and I've never paused in. So
Yeah, you do realize real quick that you living in Texas, the thing you said about not watching a high school football game is blasphemy, right? The
it's
home
okay.
of
I ain't
fight,
from Texas, and I ain't trying to claim it, so I'm good.
but you live here now. You do realize this is the home of Friday Night Lights, right?
Another show that I used to watch, and yet I will not. I told you about. Okay, wait. Can I tell you? Can I tell the people real quick about my like my first experience of a college football game?
Sure.
Real quick. Y'all are gonna laugh at me because this shows you how much of a fan I am not of the sport. When I was in college, I went to a football game. I went to an HBCU for a while, and I'm at this game, and I'm sitting on the opposite. First of all, didn't realize I was sitting on the opposite side of the field from the actual school. So I'm sitting in the stands of the visitors, and I am cheering, and then one of the players makes a touchdown. So I know what a touchdown was. And I start to like cheer, and I'm like, yay! Oh my God, that's amazing! Because I'm really trying to get into it. Guess what? It was the other team who scored the touchdown. So I'm like cheering
For the
for
wrong
the
team.
visiting. I'm cheering for the visiting school as they make a touchdown against my own school. And I'm cheering, and everybody's like looking at me because I had on school colors, and they're looking at me like, and my friend had to look at them and be like, this is her first game. She's never watched football before. And they were like, oh, yeah, I'm embarrassing. Don't ever take me to a football game, Eddie.
Oh wow. Yeah, because you do that in one of my teams, and I don't have to leave you there. You know.
Yo, it's gonna be the worst experience ever. So I just prefer to avoid that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, I'm a huge sports fan. If I could get you to do a show on sports, like actual sports, then I would. I would include
You can
more sport.
educate me.
I would include more sports news, but I know that I would just be talking to myself. But
You would.
I'm so glad that we both agree on the show, and I agree with you. I love the evolution of the show. When I first saw it, like the first season, I was like, it's okay, I like it, I'll support it because it's about the culture and it's good. And the second season, it really found its wings, and this season, which we're going to get into just a moment, has really just taken off. And I agree with you, it has become the CW's highest rated show, as quiet as it's kept. Most people still think it's the superhero shows or the Flash. It's not. It's all American. So good. It's getting its own spin-off, which we're going to talk about that too. And one of the things I've loved about the show is how Spencer has remained connected to the hood, to Crenshaw, to his roots. Sometimes at his own detriment too. Sometimes he rides a little too hard for the hood, for his neighborhood, But it's a TV show, and it's Spencer. What can you expect? He always goes the extra mile. But I really loved how his Crenshaw family and friends, they didn't become part of the background. They were always part of the forefront, and I love that. What about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the fact that also he kept connected to Crenshaw. And I agree with you as well. Um, he sometimes like he has that hero complex, save the world complex, and or save Crenshaw complex, and that gets him into trouble a lot because not everybody appreciates it, and sometimes he goes overboard or he goes too far in his justification for how hard he loves his neighborhood.
Yeah, how hard he rides versus it. And so, but I also on the same time appreciate how they shown that balance of him. He's never really become a Beverly kid, but he's given into his life in Beverly. Like how he's made friends there and how he did establish some things there. He has a job there. So I liked how he found that balance between, hey, I'm from Crenshaw, I may live here, I may have friends here, but so I do like the way they balance that all out. One of my favorite characters from the previous seasons, though, who I miss is Darnell. I just want to bring him up because he's not part of season 3. I miss Darnell. I need him to come
Was
back.
he the one who mom was in the military?
Yeah, that was like his
Oh
stepbrother.
yes, I loved him. Where did he go again?
His mom, I think at the very beginning of this season, his mom got hurt in the military, and so he had to go back to Germany to take care of her.
So sad. Like I agree with you on that. I think that he was one of my favorite characters. Like I would have loved to see the dynamic of that. And to be honest, like I kind of saw a little bit of a Darnell and a Layla connection, but
Yeah. And I was going to ask, just in the last 2 seasons, is there any story? And I don't know if it's because of availability of the actor or whatever, but that's the one story or the one character I feel like that they really underutilized and did not ever develop correctly or fully was Darnell. Like I always wanted to see more
there was
Darnell.
so much, yeah, because there was so much promise to him.
Yeah, especially after they got rid of the part where, he and Spencer were foils and they actually accepted each other as brothers, because, like I said, that was his dad's other son for all intents and purposes. And I did like the storyline. I did like how they brought his dad back and they took something that could have been very cliche and it actually turned out to be a really good story. So, did you like his dad?
No.
You're like, no.
I'm very direct about that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, his dad was a nobody to me. So, um, I mean, he came in for his storyline, and he it was a good storyline that they did. And it definitely brought in some drama as well as some revelations. So he was good for that. But as a character, did I like his dad? No, I didn't. But he served his
Yeah.
purpose, and now he's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad his dad did not stick around. I think that, like you said, it was them bringing back his dad worked for the storyline. But as far as them trying to add him to a permanent part of the cast, no, I didn't think that would be cool. Okay. So I guess we're all caught up, and now that's just tidbits from the first 2 seasons. We can get into season 3. What did you think about season 3?
Loved it. I really, really did love it. There were some weak points at certain points where I was a little bored, but overall, it was a great, great season. And I continue to talk up All American, and I continue to tell people, like, hey, it's on Netflix now, y'all. Please go watch season 3. If you haven't watched season 1, season 2, and then season 3, like everybody that I've told who goes and watches season 1, they binge watch and they're like, oh shoot, like when's the next season starting? So they all become fans because it is amazing. Like it's really, really good. It's a really, really good. And I feel a little sad on the fact that it's on the CW. Because then it doesn't fully get the recognition that it deserves. But in the times that we live in, like teenagers who love the series, they ain't watching it during real time anyway. So
Yeah. And I'm with you. I part of me is sad that it's on the CW, but I also think just because it may not get all the props and everything that it deserves because it's in amongst a bunch of superhero shows. But I also think that do you think it would have survived on another network?
no.
Yeah. So
The
I think it's
CW renews everything, y'all. Dynasty is going into like its 6th season.
Yeah, this is Dynasty's 4th season. It got renewed. It's up for or 3rd season. It has a season 4 and 5 renewal. So yeah, if Dynasty can get renewed, yeah. But don't get me wrong. This is nothing like Dynasty.
Nothing at all. Like it's way. That's what I was trying to say. It's way above Dynasty. So I can definitely understand why it's renewed. But once again, the CW doesn't cancel things really. So
Yeah, it is so good. And to the point that you just made, the last time I checked, as of early this morning, it was number 2 on the Netflix ratings, season 3. So it's doing really well on Netflix ratings. Now, I know we talked about it a little bit, and but I loved all the growth this summer. And shout out to the whole team for this to be a COVID year. The show, I'm glad that they didn't go with the Rona. I'm glad they didn't address COVID. We had enough other shows that addressed it, and we talked about it. We knew it was coming, but I'm glad that this show was kind of like Rona free. But for them to produce this and done this in a Rona year on a Rona schedule, I think they did a great job. Like, they did not miss a beat.
I agree.
It's a show that keeps getting better and better, and each season keeps building upon the rest. And the 3rd season so far has been the best season. It just was that good, and I love the growth. And all the growth kind of stemmed from all the breakups and everything. And the one that I want to talk about is the main main characters on the show, Spencer and Coop. I want to start with that one. That breakup at first. What did you think about it?
Were you upset when Spencer and Coop broke up?
I was a little. I understood it was time because they were both a bit much, and you could see it coming. I thought it was necessary.
I agree.
It was a little heartbreaking because it lasted for most of the season. Like, you're like, oh shit, is this a permanent breakup? Like, you're like, nah, this can't be a permanent breakup. And then you would get like maybe a little glimmer of hope, but then you'd be like, ah, damn. But it was necessary. They both needed to kind of grow and see who they were, like, without each other, as far as, and they needed to work on the issues that they both brought up. Like, Coop is always putting her nose into other people's business, and like you said before, Spencer and his freaking hero complex.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was just like you saw that they had to go work out their issues without each other, because they had some pent up anger towards each other that they just kept pushing down, because this is my best friend. But I'm glad. What did you think about the breakup?
It was necessary, and I was okay with them breaking up for as long as they did. I'll be honest, I thought Coop was very, very selfish, and I don't think even towards the end, like when Spencer was telling her like why, he was in therapy and everything like that, when he finally had his breakthrough, she didn't get it then. Like, she never truly heard what he was saying. Like, her whole thing was, well, I never told you to come and save me, but yet you're the one who got in trouble. Like, what is your best friend supposed to do but try to help you? So I don't think she took responsibility for her role in where he ended up physically. But yeah, but I was in agreement. They needed it. They needed to separate. Coop needed to figure out who she was and what type of person she was gonna be. And Spencer had a whole bunch more drama besides Coop, so he was good.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad that they made up. But I'm also glad that it wasn't that the way they did it. It wasn't that typical, oh, let's just sweep everything under the rug and pretend like it never happened. Like, they acknowledged the time that they were apart. And even now that they're friends again, it's like they're still not quite where they were, and they're trying to find their way back to that. And I like how they're kind of taking it slow. Like, when he finds out about Preacher's daughter, he doesn't immediately tell Coop. He's like, nah, I'm minding my business. That's what she wanted me to do. I'm not getting in that. until he sees that, oh, it might be something detrimental that she needs to know. But he still is not the one that actually tells her. So, and then when he doesn't tell her, she calls him out on it, like, why didn't you tell me? You, dude, you know. So what about the other couple breaking up, Layla and Liv?
Oh, I'll be honest and say they don't need to be friends
Why not?
because they're a toxic friendship. Like even though the girl was crazy and she said what she said, like I agreed with her. You know how, and I mean, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I have, where there's people that you've grown up with and y'all have always been close. But as you grow as a person, especially as you get closer to adulthood, like your viewpoint and that person's viewpoint changes and you grow apart. But because you've been together for so long, it's kind of like nobody wants to let go, even though you know you should. And I feel like that's Olivia and Layla. Is they grew up together, they've been best friends their whole entire lives, so they just automatically assume like this is my best friend. And I'll be honest, you're not each other's best friend anymore. You're not. So like, not to say you can't be friends, but as close as y'all used to be, that's no longer the case. That is no longer the case, and I don't want them to be. I don't think that they should be best friends. I think that they both need to move on and find someone who's really like there for them on where they are in their life now, and stop going back on where they used to be.
Yeah, I love the realism of their friendship and how complicated it is. And to answer your question, yes, I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about, as far as you holding on more to the history of the relationship, what it was, than what it is, and who you
Mm-hmm.
used to be. Um, and that evolution, and as to say, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to break up with that person and not be friends. It just means that, hey, realize that we're not who we were, and that means, and we may not be who we were to each other at this point in our lives. I still love you, I always have love for you, you know, but we may not be that everyday ride or die anymore, and that's okay. And so I, yeah, their relationship to me is really hit or miss. I love, again, how they're not just trying to pick up where they left off, but my question was, what makes Spencer so much different than Asher? Like, is she mad because they what? Like, she knows? Because
Because she
Olivia,
actually, I think what makes Spencer different from Asher is that both of them really did fall in love with Spencer.
okay,
With when it was Layla and Asher, that was just a thing. Like they'd been together, but I remember Asher was an asshole when
he
him
was
and
with
Layla
Layla.
were together when he was first introduced as a character. So that means like your relationship was kind of like the popular girl with the popular guy, and we've been together for a minute, so we're just in this. And then with Asher and Olivia, I think it was that we did this thing and we're attracted to each other. So let's see where it goes. And I liked Asher and Olivia together, but I think they played their roles in each other's lives very well. And not everybody is there for a lifetime. Some people are, you're going to be with some people for a season. And I think the season that Asher, oh, look at that. I'm getting real deep, y'all. The season that Asher, the season that Asher and Olivia were together was right for them. I think they grew as individuals when they were together, especially when they figured out that they were no longer in it for the right reasons, or in it for, the reasons that they started out as. So I actually like them together, and I think their breakup was good. But I think that both of them actually really fell in love with Spencer. And that's
Yeah,
why I think like Spencer, like that hit them harder than when it was Asher, you know, if that makes any
yeah,
sense. I hope I made sense.
you did.
Okay.
And and again, it was like, it's messy and it's a triangle, and they're trying to put sisters between misters, but I think their problems go deeper than it just being Spencer. um
They weren't there for each other.
huh
They weren't there for each other.
Yeah. So I think their issues go deeper than just Spencer. And it seems like the times that they weren't there, because whenever one or the other is with Spencer, they tend to fall back from each other. And I think Livia did it because initially, she thought Spencer was her brother, but even she found out Spencer wasn't her brother before him and Layla got really serious. But Layla just kind of jumped in and laid her claim, and Olivia fell back, So I would be okay if they weren't like best friends, or if they don't try to force it. And maybe if we just see them, and I guess maybe because even when we were introduced to them, they were on the outs. Like Olivia, they were on the outs, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even when we were in it, we've never really seen this friendship in a healthy place, have we?
I'm sure like they've had instances and like episodes where they were really, really cool, but like to overall be invested in their friendship, no.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Not on a good moment, not on a good day, not when we have this moment of nostalgia where where people get a glimpse of what it used to be. I'm like, we've never seen this relationship as a whole in a healthy place, huh?
Yeah, I agree with you on
So,
that.
I'm with you. I don't know, like, either start over and show us exactly what they're fighting for, or let it go. Let them just be, friends in the same friend circle, but not besties. Because yeah, I agree, Carrie. What did you think about Crazy Carrie?
She's crazy.
She's batshit crazy. Like, and
I just think
Layla,
she's not mentally all there. And so, and
yeah,
Layla was a fool. So
yeah. I think Layla just, her and her lonely girl complex. For someone who's always alone, she doesn't know how to be alone. Does that make sense?
yes.
Like, for someone who's always by herself, and I get it, but she doesn't know how to be by herself, like, truly. It's like she always has to have something or someone there to kind of fill this void. And I guess it goes back to her daddy issues. But yeah, Carrie is crazy. What did you think about Asher and Vanessa?
Once again, it's whatever.
Yeah,
Vanessa
I,
is like, she can go.
yeah. I think it would have been better if they would have done Asher and Vanessa the way they did the stuff in Vegas. If we could have seen what this whole great epic summer friendship slash romance was about, instead of just trying to tell us and make it seem like it was this great thing.
I think Asher and Vanessa would have worked out if they had gotten a better actress to play Vanessa.
I said that too. That is in my notes. I'm like, I actually like them, although the actress isn't the best, so maybe
She
recast
is
the
the
role.
worst. I'm sorry. She is the worst. And that is what kills it. Because I'm all for Asher finding somebody who can really be there for him. Because I love Asher. Like, I think he has shown such growth, at the same time kept true to himself. And I wish that that they got a better actress. Like, there's so much promise there between him and Vanessa, but the chemistry is like, not, there's no chemistry there between them. And also, she's a horrible actress.
Yeah. So, and I had that. Yes, I agree. Like, and I guess maybe if they had more, and I get it, COVID year, whatever, but you could have done them like you did, like Vegas, and give us some screenshots or some flashbacks to what made this so great and epic, and giving me something to be invested in. I like the character. I like the idea of it, but you could have just used her kind of as a cat, especially for where it's ended up so far. Um, you could have used her as just a callus or a springboard to help him and Liv see that, hey, again, we're hanging on to something that we probably should let go of, and move on. But yeah, or get a better actress, because she kind of killed it, and not in a good way. All right, and one of my last couples, and we can get on to other stuff. Jordan and Simone. What'd you think about that? Oh my goodness, she took the Tammy side, y'all. The Tammy side.
trying to figure out my statement. Let me make this quick. Y'all. I love the concept of Jordan and Simone. I think that for who Jordan is, where sometimes he can be so profound, sometimes he can be a sweet person, and sometimes he can be a little spoiled ass brat. Simone grounds him, and I love that. But I also like hate the disjointedness of their relationship. Like, you get married, and there was so much promise in that. But then you're giving her own series. So now you got to figure out how to break them up. So even though they're already married, now they're going to get annulled and they're not going to stay together, but they're going to do long distance across the country. Like, so I keep it short and sweet. I love them overall. I love what they represent, but at the same time, like, it's going to go nowhere. So I knew I couldn't fully get invested in this season of Simone and Jordan because it wasn't going to last, which is sad.
Yeah. I agree that talking about the growth and the evolution. So, those of you who may not know, Simone started as a booty call for Jordan, just like when Jordan was back in his player getting. I think that's back when Jordan was getting high, huh?
Yeah, he was just being the pretty boy, quarterback of the football team.
Yeah, he was just being the pretty boy, spoiled. He was going through one of his spoiled fuck
He was
boy
being
phases.
a Beverly Hills kid. I'm sorry, but he was.
Yeah, he was going through his fuck boy phase,
Yes.
and he hooked up with Simone, and then a couple of times, and he liked her, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to put a name on it. He didn't want to commit. He didn't want a DTR. And then what did he do?
No, and then she ended up pregnant.
She ended up pregnant.
She claimed that he was the father, and that is where you started to see the growth of Jordan. When after his initial reaction, he went full force in, and he changed for her, and he started to actually like her and want to be with her, and that's what I loved about their relationship. Like, you saw him grow so much with having someone who knew who she was and knew what she didn't want and forced him to actually step up and claim what he wanted himself.
Yeah. And when he expect, and I also like, and part of me, so, and I love, and it goes back to, the writing and just how they do the show. They took a situation that could have been cliche and turned it into something so great. Like, you get to the point where you realize you're thinking, oh, and a lot of us are like, oh, we don't want this to be Jordan's baby. But it gets to the point, the way they wrote it is, if it actually would have turned out to be his baby, you would have been okay with that,
Yeah.
And then, but when it turns out not to be his baby, he and his family, they don't just, do what a lot of us probably would have done, been like, oh, send the bitch to the curb. He still stays with her, and he's still there for her and supports her on that journey. And so it was just like they turned it into something really good. Now, I for one thought, yeah, it could have been a lot of promise with the marriage thing. It goes back to show that his mama, white girl Laura, is a G.
Oh yeah, she's top dog.
Because she was like, oh no, y'all. After she heard married, she's like, she had them annulment papers drawn up so quick. But so I love how they told the story, and you did come to like Simone and just her growth from being that girl who was trying to trick them into getting married to showing just who she really was. And I agree with you, but I also thought that they were too young to be married. And once you found out she was getting her own spinoff, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, you kind of knew, you were kind of trying to see, oh, is Jordan going to be a part of the spinoff or what's going to happen? I can tell you, as someone who tried the long distance thing in college, who tried naively to even have an open long distance thing, because I thought I was being realistic about it. It's not going to work.
Well, and also, do you know when they were first thinking about this spinoff, they were actually going to to create an HBCU in California and have her attend the HBCU in California. And then they just changed it to having an HBCU in Atlanta, which is across the country. But here's another thing that you knew, that the marriage was going to be nothing, right? They never lived together.
Yeah, never.
Like, you're married. How are you having sex?
The same way high schoolers have sex, sneaking, doing it when their mama ain't home.
They ain't showing no instance where they're actually like banging it out. So,
well,
I'm honestly and say, I don't even know if what you said is true, Eddie.
What? Okay, and for that, I'm gonna say COVID, because a lot of shows, they kind of.
I get it, but still, you can make me believe that y'all are banging it out without actually banging it out.
A K-drama, dude. They took the K-drama route.
They did take the K-drama route. You right.
They K-drama did because of COVID. But yeah, so I really like that. So let's just go ahead and get into it since we brought it up. First, before we go there though, I see Jordan and Layla. I like their chemistry. I'm getting the silence.
I do too.
Oh, see, you hated, but that silence was her hating to agree with me.
But here's the thing. No. It's not even like hating to agree with you. It's hating to agree with it because at the same time, although I love their chemistry and I can so see them, and I'm wondering how it took so long before they really showed the chemistry of Jordan and Layla, because that match is like a TV match made in heaven, right? On like the brother and the best friend. But I don't want them together.
Yeah, like I have
like I don't want them together. Like, that just keeps the fake BFF relationship alive, and I want that to die. Like, yeah, I don't want it. Maybe when they go to college. I don't know.
Okay, here's my downfall. Here's my thing. I love the actress who plays Layla. I don't like her character.
Oh my God.
So to me, that, and I brought it up before, one of the characters that I think that they have done a disservice to is Layla. She has so much promise and potential, but besides her always having issues and drama, we've never seen who Layla is aside from the girl with the eating disorder, the girl with the daddy issues, Spencer's girlfriend, Coop's manager. Like, and when she's with Jordan, you see more promise in that. So if they do put them together, which they have mad chemistry, like loved their chemistry, I want it to be a slow roll. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind a slow burn with this. I really wouldn't. Take your time, take your time and let us see that natural progression. And in service of that, let us actually see who Layla is besides someone's girlfriend, someone's manager, someone's best friend, the girl with the major daddy issues. I want to see who Layla is. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. Like, I can agree with you on the slow burn. When I mean, like, they do have so much chemistry. So I would be excited to see how it develops. My only thing would be on I just like, oh my gosh, I just don't.
They can do it without her necessarily being without her and Olivia.
Yes, like if they can do that without making it like be putting a bow on her and Olivia's friendship, and actually keeping it as real as possible, because I don't think that I don't think they'll ever get back what they had, and I think that just needs to be broken. They can be friends, but to actually be best friends, absolutely not. Like, I don't agree. But here's the thing. Just like Spencer is like Olivia's best friend and they just happen to love each other, I can see, because Jordan and Layla grew up together, I can see them having that slow connection where it starts off as friendship. They start to always hang out with each other, and then it gets to that level. Like, I can see that happening, and I'd be okay when they get to college.
Yeah, especially after we see all what happens with the Carrie drama. Jordan nurses heartache with Simone, because we know that they're going to try to keep the long distance thing going just for drama's sake on both shows.
Because Homecoming premieres in the spring, so yeah, I'm gonna believe. I give it 2 episodes before they break up.
Yeah. Okay. So, what did you think of? Well, before we get back to that, just side notes. I'm glad Billy and Laura got back together. Love Laura. We're going to talk about her more in a minute. I love Spencer's mom and the principal. What do you think?
I do not like Spencer's mom and the principal. I think I will agree and say that I think she was a little bit of a sellout. Just because, you know, she thought he was really, really cute. Like, it was an excuse for the fact that he was the one who was putting that pressure, and he was an asshole. He was an asshole. Okay. I don't like the principal and his mom, but Laura and Billy, like, that's endgame. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, I like the principal. I like the evolution. I like how he is an example of what I always say: hurt people, and he never dealt with the trauma of when he was a kid and what happened and all of that anger and stuff that he had. It was ridiculous, but that's where I got it from. But now that we're getting to see him aside from all of that, how he's unpacking and dealing with that, I actually do like him. And it doesn't hurt that he's hella beautiful, but you know. Okay, so real quick, what do you think? Yay or nay on Homecoming?
Yay.
Did you like the episode? I loved the spinoff. I loved it.
I liked the potential of it. You know, I'm a fan of oh my God, what's the dude? He was in Legacies.
Peyton Smith, yes.
Yes.
Because when he left Legacies, honestly, I can say when he left Legacies, I'm like, he was the only reason I kept watching. And that he was also one of those underserved characters where they never really wrote for his where they never really wrote for his potential. And I think we talked about it. Like, yeah, him and Hope should have been together. But anyway, so when he left, I'm like, what are they gonna do? So when I saw him, I'm like, oh, this is why he left. Yay. Yeah. Okay.
So I will definitely give it a shot. I will watch the first couple episodes, and then we can have a conversation about if it's worth the rest of the season.
Okay, that's granted. So I'm gonna get to how I think they're gonna pull that off in just a moment. But so speaking of Laura being a G, Liv needed her ass beat for what she did to her mom.
She needed a black mama beating. I wrote that down.
She needed that. I wrote that down. We talked about it earlier.
She needed a black mama ass whooping.
She needed that every syllable. She
did. Supercalifragilistic.
I understand what that. Like, that is a time when no matter how, look, you were not grown. I understand what is going on. And that's one thing I hate in all these kid shows, and even with kids, it's like you think adults owe you fucking explanations for everything, and they do not. You are a child. I don't care if you're 16, 17, whatever. Yes, you're mature for your age. You're still a child. There's still some things you don't fucking understand.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing with that, is that when Laura was crying and said, my daughter really thinks this of me, that's where my mind was. Because your mother raised you, and she raised your brother. And the person in that house who had y'all on lock was your mother. It wasn't your daddy. It was your mom. So for you to get to the point where you really think that your mom wasn't doing anything for Tamika just because she was white, and that goes back to, because I know a lot of us have that idea, right? So I think, like, if I was in her situation, I'd probably be thinking the same thing, but I'd still question it, and I would never do that to my mother. Like, I would never do that to my mother. Like, she destroyed her mother's career, only to find out that her mother was doing the right thing.
And that's what I don't get. It's like, look, the law is complicated. It in a lot of ways it's fucked up, and it's slow, and it needs to be challenged in a lot of instances, and it needs to be changed. But her mom, to me, it goes back to, I understand where you are. Trust me, we understand the anger. I get it. But for you in that moment to not trust your mom,
with your like after that situation with your brother.
Like, dude, to me, like I said, she needed that black mama every syllable ass.
She did. And to make it worse is that she made her mother doubt what she was doing in the justice system. I get that it's fucked up. And like you said, it moves extremely slow. But that is one less person who's going to be fighting
the good fight on the inside.
Yes, that's one less person, because now your mother has left. and she's going to be working with the community. But it's not just working with the community. You need people on the inside who is going to help you. And now that's one less person who was on the inside, one of the top tiers, and now she's gone.
Yeah. So that I get it, and I love the way that they told the story. You know, we saw a lot of those social justice stories, a lot of slash Rona stories, and they went all in on the social justice. Like I said, I don't care that they didn't show Rona, but at that point in time, I was like, ooh, you know, Laura's a G, but you know she a white G because a black mama, let me put it this way. If that was Grace, her ass would have been snatched.
Snatched. Ooh, like it wouldn't even look, yo. I just think of like, yo, can we have a redo of that scene and give her a black mama and a white daddy, and let's see how that rolls?
Give her Grace. Let Grace be the mama at that moment.
Yeah, because if Laura, no, don't give her Grace, because Grace is very philosophical. Grace is very philosophical. Love it, but she's philosophical. No. Grace ain't that beat that ass mama.
Give her Juanita.
Huh? They needed a Juanita.
Oh, I was gonna say, give her a Juanita.
Can we put Juanita in that spot? Because I'd like to know, how would Miss Juanita react to that whole thing? Like, I want the whole scene, like up to where Miss Juanita snatches her and just beats her ass. Like,
girl, it would have been one of those. I think I might need to call CPS just to come save me. Like, for real, save me.
Because I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I'd have dragged her if she was my child. I'd have dragged her. You wouldn't have seen the out. Like, you think, oh, I don't care if you made an apology or nothing like that. Like, you going at least 6 months with nothing. No car, no podcast, no TV, no phone. You going to school and you bringing your behind right home. You ain't got no friends. Your brother ain't talking to you. Your daddy ain't talking. Like, yo, it'd be like you in prison.
Yeah, she needed her ass beat for that. Gosh, all right. I'm glad Spencer and Livia are finally doing the thing. I'm interested, and they're still taking baby steps. I'm interested to see how.
Sorry, wait.
What? What's up?
I know this was a very, very small scene. I'm sorry, because I know we getting close to the time, but do you remember when she was in the street and that white girl threw the slushy on her?
Oh, that bitch would have got dragged.
Yo, I stood up like, oh, I wish you fucking would.
No, see, at that point in time, you knew they was in Beverly and not Crenshaw.
I'm snatching you no matter where you at. Like, I'm going to show those other white people, you don't ever throw something at a black person again, because this is what's going to happen to you. I'm snatching you.
Okay,
completely.
Okay. And even now, can you imagine? Let's just say, first of all, if they were at the coffee shop in Crenshaw and that went down, she would have got dragged.
Olivia wouldn't even have to do anything.
Thank you. Or if Kia had been visiting Spencer at work or Coop, bitch would have got dragged.
But you know what? Okay, but doesn't that say something? Because when we think of, like, what if Simone was with her or Layla was with her, nothing would have happened, right? Nothing would have happened. But if she was around her people, it'd have been a wrap. It'd have been over. It'd have been done. Like,
I think Simone might have gotten a little rowdy. Like, I don't know.
She may have talked a good game, but to actually, like, go
put hands?
No.
She wouldn't have thrown hands? No.
She wouldn't have thrown hands. But she would have been that person standing in front of her and say, bitch, do it again. Like, that'd have been Simone. Layla would have been like, oh my God, y'all, let's go.
Yeah, like, or Coop. Nah, she just would have caught hands. Okay.
Coop would have thrown hands.
I love the show. We talked about being a football show. I'm good. The football stuff, I'm not.
Eddie, I love you so much. Because that's what I wrote down, and I thought I was going to be in the minority on seeing that. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, like the football, it's a football show, the football stuff, and maybe because it was COVID, we did. But even in non-COVID years, the football shit was some of my least favorite stuff. I was more
Yeah.
off the field stuff. So I honestly don't care who wins between Beverly and Crenshaw. I'm glad
Me either,
Crenshaw's
but we know Crenshaw's about to win.
yeah, I'm glad Crenshaw's program is getting saved regardless, blah, blah, blah. I know that Spencer and Jordan and Asher, they're all going to kind of go to the same, they're probably going to end up at the same college. Okay.
We did not talk about Asher and his medical thing.
Yeah. His heart condition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which it happens quite often that they find when someone does a deep dive physical, they'll find these underlying conditions, these underlying heart conditions, which I was going to get into. It kind of resurfaces his career, but I think the whole season was bringing us to that because it turns out he's a much better coach than football player. Like the way he's been assisting her and drawing up plays.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting ready for Coach Asher, and he'll probably end up being a coaching assistant or something after college. What do you think?
I'd be okay with that. Coaching assistant, please. I want him to be a full coach. But like that, I will say that really like hurt me when like they told him that he couldn't play because of his heart condition. Like that really hurt me because his whole like everything that he's done this season was to get to the point where he could play in the championship game, and unfortunately he's no longer able to play football at all. So yeah. that hit me hard.
He was finally playing for himself.
Yes.
And not his dad.
And somebody finally told him he was really good.
Yeah. And I have to say, just speaking about Asher, he's probably been one of my favorite characters that they've developed over the years. Like when he first came in, loved Cody Christian. He was in one of our other favorites, Teen Wolf, and all of that. And he was kind of just like, played that asshole. And when he came in here, like you said, he came in initially as the asshole and as the foe, but he's evolved into one of my favorite characters. And I love the growth. I love how they've written the character. I love how they developed the character. And like you say, he's true to himself. He still has moments where he can be an asshole and he can be a fuck up, but overall, I love.
But it's him. Like, I look at Asher and I think
it's no longer malicious. Like what he does now is no longer malicious.
It's just who he is, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's just like
okay,
yeah, I fucked up because I'm a human being. I'm an asshole because that might be just my tendency. But it's no longer going out of his way to be a hurtful, malicious person. So,
which goes along with his friendship with Spencer.
Yeah,
on the fact that they're actually friends. Which is a thing. Like definitely.
Yeah. So there's a lot. The season finale took us to a lot of places. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but we only got half a season. Or half of a school year. So I'm wondering, and this kind of goes into my question, the one that I always ask. What do you think is going to happen in season 4? I think there are two possibilities. One,
you're going to flash forward after 2 episodes?
I think so. Like, here's my thing. I think either because, and I was trying to figure out how they were going to do it because of Homecoming and its premiere. So one or two things is going to happen. They're either going to pick up where they left off, and season 2 is going to be the second half of season year. And Simone's going to graduate early and go do Homecoming. And then we'll get the full rest of senior year. Or they're going to pick up at freshman year in college, and then they're kind of going to do us the Vegas treatment where they flash back to the big things that happened the second part of season. That happened the rest of season.
That would be
year.
so.
Which season you prefer?
Season 4, for anyone who does not know, premieres. I believe it's like October 24th is when season 4 premieres of All American. They get a couple episodes in before they go on winter break. Never understand it, but okay. So I would say take 5 episodes, go over the rest of the senior year of high school. That whole thing can do 5. You can do 5 episodes on that. And then when they come back in January, Homecoming starting, we'll already know how this whole thing turns out, and they can start freshman year of college.
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like. Like you said, they're all going to end up at the same school. I don't know about Asher. I'm thinking part of the story may be that Asher does not end up going to college at the same time that Jordan and Spencer does. He does not end up going to college at the exact same time, but he does go a little bit later with a different idea of what he wants to do. Like, maybe have him do sports medicine, not medicine. Yeah, sports medicine, sports management, kid. Oh my gosh. What is that? Kinesiology?
Yeah, kinesiology.
Kinesiology. Something like that. But he has to figure out himself now that football is not going to be a thing. And his senior year is going to be about that, right? But I don't know if I see Asher starting off freshman year with Jordan and Spencer at school.
Well, see, I think they're going to go to that ever elusive coastal California
University.
college. Yeah, I think they're going to all end up there. And because that's where Asher got his letter, and that's Coach Montez's husband, I think they might try to find, I think she might be able to pull some strings and get him a coaching assistant thing. His scholarship will probably go by the wayside, but I think maybe he could work his way through being a coaching assistant, maybe. I don't know how that would work, but wherever they end up, I know that Manny Montana needs to be an assistant coach there.
Yeah. Yo, Eddie.
Like the way
I am still so mad at you for not telling me ahead of time that sexy ass dude was in an episode of All American. Like, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, wait, isn't that the dude from Good Girls?
And you see, and you hear the voice before you really get a good look at his face.
No. You know what I saw first?
What?
The tats.
Oh, okay.
When I saw the tattoos, I knew it was him from the tattoo. Before I saw his face, I saw his neck tattoo and knew it was him automatically.
Yeah, like yo.
Yeah, like he needs to move to California. Forget Ohio.
Yeah, like I want to say it was just a news blurb or a news story where there was something that went down with the coaching staff at that school, and so I was like,
on the show or in real life?
No, on the show, because the school is made up. Like it was something really quick, and you missed it to where there was a coaching scandal. It was just starting to pop off.
Please don't let it involve Manny.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I was like, and that's what I was saying. I was like, please don't let it involve Manny. And so I was thinking, because the original when it originally aired was right around the time Good Girls was and I'm like, oh, is this the next gig? Because
I'm all for season 4, y'all. I'm all in. Like, if Manny comes on board, like, I ain't never leaving this show. Ever. I'm in this for life.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, and Billy can just go to being a dad, or since it's gonna be around LA, probably in Malibu or whatever. We know it's an LA area school. Billy can still coach at Crenshaw or whatever. They don't have to change that. I don't know how they would work it out, whatever. But
I don't want him to end up at the same school as his kids.
No, I don't. And that's what I'm saying. Because of the relationship, you saw him being a good mentor towards Spencer. Like, he was one of the few people, especially strangers, that Spencer actually listened to. Normally Spencer doesn't. Like, I just like their chemistry, besides, Manny Montana being Manny Montana.
Yeah, but their chemistry was really good on how he said, like, do what you normally do. Like,
Yeah, just advice.
I need to see you be a leader and, like, actually step up, kind of thing.
Like, I love that mentor relationship. Like, you could actually see that character being a mentor towards Spencer. So in college. So I was like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Just that has nothing aside from my love of Manny Montana. But
he's great. He's just an awesome person. But anyway, sorry. Yeah. And he's married to a Black woman. Sorry.
yeah. Love him. Okay. Yeah. Makes me lament. I hate that Good Girls is canceled. Like, I'm hoping somebody will pick it up for a final season to end the story right. But anyway, that's neither here nor there at this moment. I agree. I think any of those scenarios would work, but I like yours. I really don't necessarily want to go through the whole second half of senior year. Not the whole season. Like you said, they do the first half of the season, and then the second half, when they come back in the spring, be in college, I'm good with that. but I don't want
we've
the
actually
whole.
never we've actually never truly gone through spring. So
Yeah. So we'll see. But I know just because it's senior year, they would probably want to do something with graduation. I know they're going to try to,
you gotta do prom.
yeah, you got to do that game. So there's just some big loose ends or things that they got to tie up. We got to find out what happens to Coop. She's going to live, but we got to find out what happens. Did old girl die?
She need to.
Oh, and is that really Preacher's daughter?
I want to believe it is.
I want to believe it is, but some tells me it's
Because her
not.
mama, I feel like her mama need to die, and if her mama dies, somebody got to take her. So I really do hope that it is his daughter. But that's gonna, that's gonna be a tough relationship. That's why I think it will be his daughter, because of the type of relationship they're gonna have now that he killed her mom.
Yeah. And yeah, it's tough. So we got to see what happens with Coop. Got to wrap up not Laura, Layla and Crazy Carrie. Carrie gonna die.
Sorry.
Yeah, like so there's just from the finale, there's some things that I think can't just necessarily be wrapped up in a flashback. If that does that make sense? I think it would be a disservice.
No. You got it. Okay, so here's my one question.
Yeah.
What are some like last minute like scenes or stories that we haven't talked about, but you just want to kind of like throw out there? Like, is there anything from the season that you were like, oh, I like that scene, or or a character or that we haven't mentioned or anything like
that? Gosh, not off the top of my. I got my Manny Montana fix. I love that Billy and Laura got back together. Hit me. What you got?
So I will say that I loved the ladies' night.
Oh, yes. I was going to mention that. Yes,
that was awesome. Loved it. And I really do hope they continue it, because I think Grace and Laura can have such an amazing friendship, as well as the really thirsty mom. I love that. I love the dynamic of them having that evening together, and and then that also led to her and Billy getting together, and the principal and Grace. And then the character that I want to see more of, and I'm guessing she's doing her own thing and maybe she just didn't have the time, is Patience. I love Coop's girlfriend. Like, I think she's awesome, and like how she did the whole Friendsgiving. I've always wanted to do that.
Oh, okay. Now she brought it up. I know what my other one is. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, go. I'm good. Like, okay. I was just saying, like, the Friendsgiving was like Patience, Friendsgiving, and Ladies' Night. Like, I love that. We didn't mention it. I don't want to go into details of it, but I did want to just throw that out there.
Yeah. I loved on Ladies' Night really quick. That was also one of the things I love that. I loved how we got a different side. I think her name is Keisha. I love how we saw a different side of Keisha than just the thirst trap, just thirst monster. I love that. And Friendsgiving, the potato salad scene. Almost macaroni and cheese.
Okay, you know what? I don't even feel that we should talk about this. I feel that we should end it on the fact of just saying, watch the episode, and you'll know exactly why we're laughing. Okay, like that.
That is one for the culture.
You have to watch it to understand.
That was a scene for the culture. Like
that was such a culture scene.
And even Jordan was like, but even Jordan and his mom being who she is, Jordan was like, nah, dog.
Even he knew, like, everybody was on point with that. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, now that once you say something, it usually triggers something. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Okay, so I guess we talked about season 4, what we're looking forward to, what we hope to see happen.
Yes.
Anything else with All American? I love this. I rarely say this on air, but I love this episode. This was good. Just because I love All American.
But I was just about to say, I think it's because it's one of our favorite shows, and we agree way more on All American than we would disagree. I think this is like one of the only shows where we agree way more than we disagree on things.
Yeah. What
But
would you
yeah.
rate the season? Okay, so rating. What?
I am going to rate it 4.0, and the just one simple thing on a reason why is because I am also sick and tired of the football stuff. I can do away with the football stuff. I think the relationships that they've developed and those scenes is what keeps me coming back. The connection and the bonds that they have amongst the different characters more than the football scenes. I understand that it's part of it, but I can do away with it. Like, just talk about the football games. You ain't got to show it to me no more, like at all. But yeah, so 4.0, great season. Cannot wait for season 4, October 25th, y'all.
Yeah, I agree. 4.0, I rated it the same and pretty much the same reasons. The football stuff, and then some of the nitpicky stuff we've already talked about, but do more with Layla's character, definitely. I think don't get rid of her, but just make her more well-rounded. Develop her the way you've developed everyone else. Sometimes she comes across as whiny and woe is me, but anyway. So 4.0, October 25th, tune into season 4 of All American. And, again, this is season 2 of the Popcorn Wind Down. Tune in next week for another great episode, because that does it for this week's episode. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels, see what I did there, of pop culture goodness at the popcornwinddown.com. And the Daily Wind Down will return after Labor Day with a new and improved look. So give us a shout out then. And until next time, thank you as always. Be sure to join us next week when we find out what R-E-S-P-C-T.
Find out what it means to me.
R-E-S-P-C-T. Take it. Okay, my bad. I can't bless y'all with all this good singing right now. But yeah, so until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.